Welcome, Glen and Jamie. Love having you.
Love being here.
Okay, now, you boys just came back from Spain. You need to explain why we're there, and I'm sure you had way too much fun.
It was beautiful. I mean, just seeing Spain's architecture by itself and nothing else. So even if you're just cruising down the street in a bus, getting to a destination, everything around you is beautiful architecture and design.
You're in awe the whole time.
You are.
Okay, so why were you there business-wise?
Those stonemasons and the people that lay things out from the architecture, even the carvings on doors, there was such attention to detail. But when you think that, there were lots of spaces that would be 100 years in the making, so 2-3 generations of people would go into creating a structure that just doesn't happen here ever.
Truly an art form, right?
And we were really there to see the process of where marble comes from and the quarries, and seeing the process of mining it out, and then seeing the process of quartz being made and Decton and other new products on the market.
Right.
Which is amazing, because people don't realize what is on their countertop or their backsplash, really how that all came about.
Well, I mean, I wrote about this in the Star recently, that people sort of think that stone comes from the design center. You just go and pick a piece and it's done. But really, it can be 500 feet below the surface, and all of that has to be removed before you get to this vein of marble, which then gets cut out in massive blocks. And then transported and then sliced into pieces, polished on one side, and then transported around the world, because every part of the world has a different kind of stone.
Right.
Before it finally gets to you. I mean, we were at the Cosentino plant, which is
Beautiful.
Beautiful, but also massive. Like the Decton factory looked as though it should have been the set of The Matrix. It was amazing.
I mean, these factories are all the size of shopping centers.
Yeah, they're massive.
And they have 11 factories going, just making quartz on its own.
Correct.
And so there's a lot out to see. What I thought was very interesting with going down to the quarry was the gentleman said, this is sort of a young piece of stone. And I said, how young are we talking? He says, 250 million years old.
Right.
Don't you think everybody...
And that ends up in your kitchen.
Right.
Exactly. And then
It's why I always joke with clients who are saying, I like this piece of marble. I wish it was a little bit more gray. And I say, it's coming. It's back-ordered for about 200 million years. If you don't mind waiting, we'll get it for you.
No problem.
Right.
Don't you think it's an important design experience, though, when people are thinking of using natural stones in their home? And I don't care if it's the veneer, the thin stone, if it's for a fireplace, backsplash, or countertop. Bottom line is, it's an experience to actually go to a quarry, to pick them out, and more importantly, to go see the granite, to go see the marble, to go into those places and see the big slabs and actually hand-pick. It's just one-of-a-kind experience.
Even if it's a showroom
Right.
that has it and you can't get to a quarry themselves, oftentimes when we're working with natural stone with a client that wants that as their preference, we will actually take them to the showroom to see the actual slab they're going to get, because there's a lot of unpredictability with stone. Although you might look at a little sample and say, here, this is what Carrara marble looks like, the actual fact is you might have a piece that has an orange line through it or has some sort of mineral that ran
it's
through
natural.
it. It's natural.
It is natural. And I always say that, there are stones that are very ubiquitous and very samey, and those are the ones that are sold more in big box stores because they really don't vary one slab to the next. The ones that are really incredibly beautiful, it's, to me, it's sort of like going to an art gallery, because you really get to see, it's almost like Impressionist painting. It's
custom.
It is true.
You're picking what suits
it is
you.
truly one of a kind. There is no other piece of stone. It's yours and only yours. There's the one next to it is going to be slightly different. So it is really, really customized.
So talk to us in terms as designers. Do you love using stone in spaces? Do you believe in it?
I think we should start with, stone is a big word to use, because some people say, that quartz product stuff, that's just all man-made. And the reality is there is man-made elements to it, but the actual quartz itself is a true mineral. And so it is a real stone product. I mean, and then you have granite and marble and travertine, and the list can go on and on and on. Soapstone, really... You have to look at where you're using it and in what application. We recently had a client that we did the kitchen, and in the kitchen where the stove and sink was, let's say that's the back wall of the kitchen, we used quartz because it's going to be a lot more maintenance, a lot more hot plates, pots, this and that happening.
Maintenance-free, you mean?
Yeah, a lot more maintenance-free. But in the island, they decided to go with a natural stone because they wanted the beauty and the look of it. So it's, really it's personal preferences.
What about, though, if you don't mind me asking,
Yeah.
Glenn, in terms of the, veneer, the thin stone, you're seeing a lot of wall features, fireplace features, pillars, of course, just to hide what was once ugly, just to make it look a little more pleasing to the eye. But do you find that people can overdo it, so you almost feel like you're in a cave? Because I've gone to some places where it's a little overkill.
I mean, and that's when we often talk about the fact that it's sort of the difference between, home decorating and coming up with a design. And I think that people get excited about, this is a beautiful piece of stone and I will cover that column. And then, this is a beautiful piece of stone and we'll cover this thing. And, this is another beautiful piece. And so all of a sudden, it's like they've put together an outfit with all of their favorite things. It doesn't make a nice outfit. They still look like craziness. You have to sort of say, this is beautiful and it will be the feature, as opposed to having 12 features and then we don't know where to look.
You've lost
because
the
there's
feature.
no sense of design.
And really, the inner Debbie decorator wants us to do that with everything in our life. They, I love this. Let's buy it. I love this. I buy this. And sometimes we forget the whole thing has to come together, and that's
Right.
where the inner designer has to trump the Debbie decorator in us and pull it all together.
And that's where you guys come in,
Right.
because a lot of people, we do that. I mean, we get carried away. We go to places, and what you love, you get. And then even when you go home, you think, I wish I got that. So the next day, you're going to head out there to make sure you do. And then you're not just going to get one, you're going to get 10.
Right.
And sort of answer your question about the veneer stone. Veneer stone is a great product, and we use it in appropriate places. What we're finding with veneered stone, people are saying, this is great. I'm just going to do a whole wall in it. And there was no purpose behind that whole wall. So we still do use that product, and we think the product is pretty fantastic to get the brick look or the natural stone look or what have you, but it needs to be in the appropriate place or application.
All right, on the same thing, Glenn, you wrote a great article, and it was talking about some renos that help while others actually can hurt you. So let's touch upon that. So you have here the things that will help you sell: kitchen, bathroom renos, and powder room. So without a doubt, that's kind of common knowledge, right?
Yeah, and everybody sort of knows that kitchens and bathrooms are the big selling feature. And when I say renos that help and renos that hurt, if you're going to stay in that house for the next 15 years, and you love it.
There is no hurts.
There is no hurts.
Okay.
You do whatever you want, make it happen. If you have a mind to sell the house, then there are things that are going to cause you potentially problems, or you'll never get that investment back because people don't necessarily understand what it was or want it.
Recently we had a client that had us into their home and said, we want to open this wall between the kitchen and the living room, and we're going to move out in about 2 or 3 years, so we don't want to spend a lot of money. But their bathrooms were pretty dated. We're talking 1970 renovation in the bathrooms. And we said, okay, great. You're going to spend $25,000 because it was a structural wall and a beam is required. And then you have to start patching flooring or putting new flooring. And we said, really, you can't even do a whole bathroom for $20,000 or $25,000 these days. But at least we could update them. Put new vanities in, update some tile, get some paint color in there. And that's going to really come back to them. Whether or not that wall is down or not, I'm not quite so sure that would have really recuperated on the end.
Another reminder of why, of course, you would hire a designer. Hashtag hire
Hire a
a
designer.
Exactly.
Love that, by the way. You
Yes.
boys created that, right?
Yes,
Yes.
we did.
So how did that come about? Hashtag hire a designer.
Really, because people sort of, I think, feel like it's okay to do it on their own. And I sort of say, would you do your own dentistry? Do you cut your own hair? Do you make your own clothing? And if you do, and you have that skill set, great, go for it. But most people don't, but believe that it's okay to just run out and get whatever you want.
Right.
So as Jamie was saying, exactly what happens, you run through the store and you go, it's called, for me, I call it, that's cute design. Because you walk out the store and you're like, well, that's cute. And you pick it up and bring it home, and then you look for a place for it to go. There is no design sense.
There's no home to it. And we have some clients that we tell them right from the get-go, don't buy anything. And the reason is they get so excited about the renovation process or that the design process is going to happen, they start running out and buying everything. And if you look backwards, if you add up every receipt from everything that you run out to these discount home stores, and you buy this lamp and you buy this end table and you buy this and you buy this, and you put all those receipts together, you probably could have given us the same dollar amount and we would have spent it the right way. The only difference is it comes at one larger price tag at one particular time versus you don't realize you're spending $100 here, 200 here, 100 here, 200 there. And those hundreds add up to thousands that add up to working with a designer and getting it all laid out, getting the recipe.
Excellent.
So the idea of hashtag hire designer is much like real estate. You there is no way that you have the skill sets to do what a real estate agent does. You're not going to be able to search the whole market and do the things that a real estate agent does. In the same way, you'll be okay, but you're never going to be able to design, and you're never going to be able to figure out exactly how to allot that money that you have for your renovation in the most appropriate way.
Love it. Hashtag HireADesigner. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue to talk about those renos, of course, that will help you and those that will actually hurt you. Remember, if you have a question for Glen and Jamie, you can reach out to us at realestatetalkshow.ca or call our help desk anytime at 844-ASK-RETS. That's 844-ASK-RETS. We'll be right back.